I welcome all of you to my channel Learning with Faraz. So as we are continuing the Python series, this is going to be the next part in that. So in this video we are going to talk about functions in Python. I think you are following the series, so please be in the sequence so that you can understand the upcoming parts as well. So in this video we are going to talk about functions in Python. Now what are functions in Python? See, if you take the word function, its name indicates that function means some kind of work. For example, if I have a program where I have certain number of lines, for example, I have certain lines that calculate the factorial of a number. I have returned that lines without using a function. I have created these line at certain lines from maybe from 20 to 25, return these lines. Now at my 80th line or 78th line, I got the requirement of using them again. So I have to write them again, right? So that is going to increase the complexity of the program. There is no reusability without using functions. Same goes with the classes as well. Since we are discussing about function, I am explaining at that level only. So if you have certain lines of code that you think might be useful in the future, might be reusable in the future, that you have to take inside a function. So functions in any programming language is a general definition, not a particular definition of Python, but a function in all programming languages are means of packaging up and parameterize functionality. I have used the word packaging up. Packaging means combining, right? So if you have those lines to find the factorial of a number, if you take that inside a function, you are packaging up those lines into a function. So whenever I need that lines, I can use them by using a single line instead of writing all the lines. So that is what I mean by saying packaging up and parameterizing functionality. Now whenever we talk about functions, there is something called as parameter that always come into talk whenever we talk about functions. So see, function, you are finding for example, if I take finding the factorial of a number, right? So you have to tell the function which number, right? So you will pass some values to the function. So whatever values you pass to the function, you call them as parameters. I think you understood that. So whatever values you pass to a function, that are called as parameters to the function. So parameterizing functionality. So if I sum it up and tell you what are functions are means of packaging up and parameterizing functionality. So that are your functions. If you consider other languages, I will take the basic language that everybody knows of is C language. In C language, we have 3 steps. See, remember these 3 steps? I will explain what are the difference between this and Python. So there are 3 steps in C language. First is declaring a function. Second is defining. Declaring means just writing the name of the function, just giving a label that I'm going to create this function. And defining a function means writing the code what you want in that function. And third step is calling the function. So these are the 3 steps in C language that you create a function. You have to declare, define and call. So when you come to Python, there is nothing called as declaration. You don't have to declare any function in Python. Directly you have to define it and call it. That's it. So these are the 2 steps. Now what is the syntax of a function in Python? The syntax is, you will take a def keyword, you will put a space, after that you will write a function name. Usually it should be lowercase for convenience. You can take it as in uppercase also, but uppercases are considered as constant for convenience. So it is better to take them in lower cases. Next thing, you will open and close the parenthesis. In this parenthesis, you will write any number of parameters you wanted without defining the type. Again, if I take the example of Java, you cannot just take x comma y there. You have to put int x comma into y. You have to define the type here. Now we will take a def keyword, you will take a function name which should be a Python valid identifier, you will take parameters in the parenthesis, you will put a colon. Inside this you will write your code. Now let me take you to the inside of the function. When I take you to inside of the function, there is one statement called as return statement. So what is that return statement? See, function means some work, right? So whenever I give some work to somebody, then I will expect back the result from him, right? So you have to give me the result back. If I'm giving you some work, you have to give me back the result. So functions When I am giving them numbers, they will do their work and they will give me the result. So whatever I want function to give me back, that is what our return statement is going to help us with. For example, I told you I want to calculate the factorial of a number. For example, factorial of 4, it will calculate the factorial and return me the answer as 24. I think you got that one. So that is your return statement. And remember that return statement in Python is not compulsory. It's not compulsory, it's not mandatory. If you take return statement, you can also keep it as empty. If you want, you can put a single value. If you want, you can take a list of tuples also if you're keeping it. But if you ignore if you don't write, if you ignore the return statement, then it is going to return, the function is going to return none as its value. So remember this, if you're taking the return statement, you are going to return something. If you're not returning anything, then it is going to return none. If you keep your return statement without anything, again it is going to return none. Now one more thing about return statement is, whenever a function encounters return statement, it exits the function there itself. For example, if I have 5 lines of code, at the third line I have the return statement. Function will read the lines. When it comes to the third line, it will not go to the fourth and fifth line, it will just come out of the function. It will just exit the function. So return is a kind of leaving the function way. You are leaving the function whenever you're using a return statement. I hope you got this point concerning the return statement. That was all about your return statement inside a function. It's optional. If you don't give it, it's going to return none. If you give it, it is going to return that value. If you keep it empty, it's not going to return anything, just none. But it is going to leave the function when it encounters that return statement.
Implementation part. Let me write the overview of what we are going to do. We are going to create all types of functions except methods, because we are going to discuss them in OOP. And in the next step, we are going to do manipulation with a return statement. Within this, I'll tell you, we are going to discuss our global functions, local functions, and lambda functions. So these are the 3 things that we are going to discuss while we are creating the while we are creating the functions. Second, we are going to discuss is about our return statement. Third thing that we are going to discuss is about keyword and positional argument rulings. The fourth one that we are going to discuss is variable number of arguments that could be either keyword or positional or both. So these are the things that we are going to discuss with some additional programs to make our understanding better. So let us start with these things. Let us start with all these things. Let me check if I'm missing any one thing. When I'm talking about this, I'm automatically talking about unpacking operator. Unpacking operator with respect to functions. Any other thing? And last but not the least, we are talking about print function, as I've explained in the video. And there we go, that's what we are going to discuss here. So let us begin with that part. I think it is recording. Yeah, it is recording. So let me just go to my Python ID. Let me just create first thing that I'm going to talk about global functions. As I've explained to you that the syntax of functions is followed by a def keyword, and you will give a function name. Preferable is you have to give a function name in small letters. So don't that is a convenience actually. For constants, we use capital letters. I know that constant doesn't exist in Python, but yet for our convenience, sake, we write them in capital letters, right? And to maybe return a larger number, larger of 2, I want to write, and so I will write this as greater. Now this function can take maybe 2 arguments. So I'll check if x is greater than y, then return x right? Else return y. So this function, I have created a function, is called as, it's, I know it, it's e, and a space here, and a space here, and a space here, white spacing, don't forget your white spacing here, and there we go. So we have created a very simple function. This function is called as a global function. Whenever I want to call a function, I will put the name of the function greater. Now I want to find the greater of this to 10 and 10.1, right? I want to print this. So whatever this function returns, we're gonna get that. So let me just run it. What is the command for run? Control Shift F10. Okay, Control Shift F10. So I got 10.1 as my answer. So this is the function that we have created. This function is called as a global function. So if I have many number of codes, any number of lines in my program, I can use this function anywhere I want. So we are packaging up the functionality. This is the functionality, right? If any time in my program I wanted to calculate, if any point in my program I wanted to calculate the average, I wanted to know whether which number is larger than these two numbers, then I can call this function directly without writing these lines again and again. So this is our global function. So we are done dealing with our global function. So let us talk about the return statement in detail. So return statement f return test. I'm calling this as return test. So I'm giving a number to it, and it is going to return me that number with that number by 2, right? Again, kind of, I can say it as a half kind of thing. So I will call this return test with 10. Now listen here, I have specified the return statement, so it is going to take it and return the value as 5. I hope you will understand that thing. It's very easy. But if I just put like this, if I just write like this, is it valid? Yes, it's perfectly valid. Let me just check why I'm getting this. Too many blank lines. Oh, because of this it is giving. Yeah, okay. So what I'll do is I'll just put return here. So let me just print what I'll get. I'll pass 10 to it. No matter what number you pass to it, it is going to return nothing. Once it enters here, it is going to exit the function, and we are going to get none as a result. I hope you got that. And one more thing, let me tell you, I'm writing here print x, right? So we will get, say I'm writing here before return, and I want to write here after return. So listen here, this will be called, it will print this line, it will encounter return, it will exit the function, we will not get after return, right? You got before return here, right? Let me just remove this so that you can understand it. Let me just save. I'm calling, I forgot the calling, my mistake. No, oops. Okay, Control Shift, and you got before return. So how many lines, no matter how many lines you write after print, after return, they are useless. The function is going to leave once it encounters a return statement. So if you just ignore this return statement, the function is not going to return anything. It is going to return none to us. You will get this print statement because they are residing inside the function. Since there are no return statement, the function has returned us with a none. So I hope you got that thing concerning return statement.